Hello. So I am today with Alex Llonch. He's a political communications consultant and political scientist. And today we will speak about the implication of new technologies such as AI on political campaigns, and also the importance of Catalonia and the Catalonia independence movement in the recent Spanish general elections. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So we'll start. So, have you noticed any significant shifts in the political communication strategies amongst far-right parties in Spain, particularly around the general elections? And have these parties utilized digital platforms and emotional narratives in their campaigns?
hmm Yeah, of course they do. They are really strong in digital platforms. Actually, they pay a lot of money to be there, and somehow to change the narratives in the country. But I should point that in Spain, the far right movement is a bit different regards Europe, because in Spain, far right movements are linked to the church, for example. So there is some difference between the European far right movement, which is increasing a lot, and the far right increase in Spain. But
Could you elaborate on this? How
yeah,
like
for
the
sure, for sure. It's like some people who's linked to the far right movement in Spain wants to achieve the narrative that in the far right, in the European far right movements, they got. But there is another type of far right wingers in Spain who are really linked with the past of Spain. So, as you know, or as so many people know, uh, we got a dictatorship for 40 years here in Spain, and some people linked far right with people who supports this dictatorship. So maybe one of the main issues with the far right in Spain is that maybe, I don't know the numbers, but half of them are looking to or are looking forward to be like the European far right, and some of them are looking into the past of Spain.
And by the past, you mean because Franco was very closely linked to the Catholic Church? Is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, that's it. Actually, it was a national Catholic dictatorship. It was the exact term of the dictatorship or the regime. So it was really conservative, and the power of the church was so important regards the government. So yeah, I think maybe it's. I mean, it's too general to say that, but the far right among Europe, its narrative is more about immigrants and national sovereignty. And in Spain, of course, there is the immigrant part or the identity part, but at the same time, there is like a cultural struggle between the future of Spain regards its past. And when I say its past, I say yeah, dictatorship and this
And going back to these like Christian values of
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
family and
yeah. Family. That's it. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So and but the right here, like the extreme right here in Spain, is still very proficient with the use of social media, like in other countries in the world, no?
Yeah, for sure. I think we are living special boring times in Spain in terms of politics, because some people is hopeless about what politics could bring to them. So that's why far right is so, how to say, it's so seductive. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe like as an option to change this state of hopeless, this state of nothing will change. So they are pushing so hard in these terms, and they are doing it from internet. And what is curious for me, or at least for some political scientists, is that the youth is especially involved with the rise of the far right, at least here in Spain. So yeah, it's really curious.
And
And
can we
I think,
attribute this to the use of platforms such as TikTok and Instagram, or is
yeah, totally. And I think it's this capacity of link with the youth. It's when it comes to talk about this, it's mainly based on this digital use, and they know how to use it perfectly, and they know that their target is not just elderly. There are tons of youth who's willing to vote them, so they are using their channels, and they are trying to change maybe the cultural narrative in the country, saying, for example, I don't know if you are familiar with the woke term, for
Mhm.
example. They, as it happens in Europe or in the United States, far right claims that woke movement is dangerous and it's on the agenda and so on, and they attack it, and they propose like to be the opposite of that, and this could be really seductive for some people.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks a lot for all of this background and for the information. So you're based in Catalonia. You're also an advocate of the Catalan language.
Yeah.
Um, the Catalan independence movement has been a major political issue in Spain. How this movement made use of digital communications to mobilize support, and what impact has it had on the Spanish general elections?
Okay. Let's explain so briefly the a little background of the pro-independence movement. First of all, I think this movement has been so smart in terms of digital, how to say, movements, or how to use it. So let's say, mm, in in the change of in the change of the millennium, independentism was a really weak movement in Catalonia, and just in 10 years they achieved the majority in Catalonia. So of course it's linked to how they use digital platforms. I have to say that these last elections, the independentism was, as I said before, hopeless. Um, they are managing, how to say, that how they didn't reach what they want to reach. So a lot of them didn't vote, actually. In Catalonia, the abstention was 11% more than in the rest of the Spain. So a lot of pro-independentist voters didn't vote because they are not giving confidence to their politics anymore. What is funny about this is, even they didn't vote, the supposed government of Spain will depend on these pro-independence politics that were elected in the last elections.
And is there like so well, let's ask the question now. Like, do you what do you think will happen in terms of so Pedro Sanchez, or at least like the left has to form a coalition in order to create a government, and so the obvious one is to have PSOE, Socialist Party, Sumar, the other left wing force coalition,
Yep.
and but that's not enough still. So they need more forces, and it's basically the Basque country and Catalan independence movements that would be the key in this situation.
Yeah, that's it, totally. And it's funny because for the right, not just the far right, let's say the moderate right in Spain, that they called this coalition or this alliance a Frankenstein government, which can be strange to explain to a foreigner, because it's like there are people in the government or supporting the Spanish government which are praying or claiming to be independent from Spain. So it's pretty strange. But in this case, what it's more important for them is that the left is in the government, not the right. So yeah, there is like a big coalition of left wingers that will unite their votes in order to make Pedro Sanchez president again. But and here is a key part of it, or maybe one of the main points of this government, is that one of the pro-independence parties is not left, or is not considered as left. So the
Could you say
Catalan
which one?
yeah, it's called Junts,
Mhm.
and Junts per Catalunya. Yeah, it's like Together for Catalonia, and I would not say it's a right wing party, but definitely not left wing. So they are pro independence, and their main goal is to achieve the independence. So if they let Pedro Sanchez be president, they will be for sure some claims, and one of them,
But the alternative is to have Vox that wants to crush the Catalan independence movement and is very
yeah,
vocal
that's
about it.
it.
No.
That's true, but also they can play this game, because if Pedro Sanchez does not accept, he won't be the president, and there will be new elections for sure. Because
Yeah.
Vox, which is this far right party, and PP, which is it's funny in English, yeah, double P, that they don't have enough votes to govern by themselves. So yeah, and we
And
have
what
to,
can Sanchez actually trade off?
yeah, that's what we are waiting to see, or looking forward to see what they can give to the pro-independence parties. Because to summarize Spain in general elections terms, we have two main parties, as you said before. Then you have the more left-wing party, which is Sumar, and the far-right party, which is Vox. But then in Spain, we have especially two strong regionalist zones, which are the Basque Country, as you said, and Catalonia. So in Catalonia and in the Basque Country, you have regionalist parties, which they are not necessarily left wingers. So it's like their behavior. It's like an independent country, I would say. Like they got the right, they got the left, but all in national terms. They
Yeah,
just
they all
seek.
agree for like the independence of the
Yeah,
region, but then
that's
they
it.
disagree on more of the policies and how to
That's it.
implement it.
That's it. And then it gets funnier when you have to make a deal with them to make a president of Spain, because yeah, their claims could be so different. But as you said at the beginning, the main point here is that the pro-independence independence parties are claiming as a condition to accept a legal referendum for the independence of Catalonia, to vote yes or not. And let's see what happens. I'm not sure if Pedro Sanchez could accept this, but if he does not accept this, it's impossible to form a government. So the alternative, what it is, it's another elections. So let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Okay. Could you tell us a bit about these? So it's I think it was in some of the articles that were published from you. Could you tell us about the concept of the imagined other and the experienced other, and related to the perception of Catalonia by the rest of Spain and vice versa, so that we understand a bit better the relationship between Spain and the Catalan region?
Yeah, yeah, sure, perfect. And yeah, and thank you for reading me. These terms are normally are used to explain, or at least when I did was to talk about the relation between far right in Europe towards immigrants. In Spain, it could be like there is a lot of press or media who are really interested in creating, I wouldn't say fake news, but I don't know, creating this kind of interest in the people. So for a lot of media, Catalans are the evil ones, and for Catalan media, maybe Spaniards, or not the Spaniards, but the Spanish government is the evil one. So this makes a clash between them. And when you say the experience one, it's a really good point, because let's say for example you are in holidays and you want to visit some parts of Spain, and you as a Catalan go to, I don't know, Andalusia, which is a southern part of Spain, and you go there, and maybe they thought that, oh, this guy is Catalan, and according to the media this guy is, I don't know, whatever, bad things, just bad things. And you start to talk with them and talk each other, and maybe you drink, you talk, you play, and so on, and you realize that, wow, it's a human being as me, and we got pretty similar concerns. And that's the main difference between when you are mixed with the people, or you are not experimenting life with these people. So what's happening in Spain is like there is a lot of noise about what is a Catalan, or what Catalans do, or what Spaniards do, or what the Spanish government do. So if we don't talk with each others, and we don't live and day to day, it's really easy to create monsters, if it makes sense. So
Yes,
yeah.
and it seems that a lot of parties have been working on the more of the emotional messages. No, instead of speaking about a real topic, they're just talking to the emotions of humans and just get them to be scared or to be like the five like primal emotions. Do you like how do you think that is there a way to fix what has been done, maybe for example related to this what you were explaining, or this kind of prejudice that there is on
Hmm.
both sides, where people think that as a Catalan, if you go to Andalusia and speak Catalan, you might get in trouble, or
Hmm.
for Andalusian, thinking that if they go to Catalonia, they won't be able to find work for being from Andalusia or something like that.
Yeah.
Is there a solution to fix society? Because during the heat of the Catalan independence movement, even within families, people were fighting, no, about their political views on if Catalonia should be independent or not.
Hmm.
Do you think that there's a way to solve this, or at least to save this kind of at least unity?
Yeah, as you said, it was pretty intense last 10 years as a Catalan myself, because the Catalan society had polarized a lot. But the problem is, if I set a way to solve this, maybe some people will say that I'm pro something. I mean, for example, for me, a solution could be a referendum, not a unilateral referendum. I mean, a legal referendum,
So a
where is
national one where all
yeah,
Spaniards vote.
not. That's, for example, one point. There is some political, well, not just political scientists, but there is a lot of people who said that, for example, it could be fair that all the Spaniards vote. Some people said that just Catalans should vote on their future. It's hard to find a solution, because of course, the best way is a democratic one, a peaceful one. We could agree with that, of course, but the form of it, there could be discussions. But because even if you are voting, for example, which it seems a really peaceful way to do it, we can see it now that there are maybe troubles or some misunderstoods with who should vote, how it will be. It's, yeah, we're just thinking about a future that does not exist for Catalans, neither for Spaniards. So yeah, there is a solution, but we don't got the final form of the solution, let's say. Yeah.
Mhm. Just just to continue a bit on this topic and like closer to the election, Carles Puigdemont, who was the president of the regional council for several years, and he's now living in Belgium, I think,
Yeah.
in exile, not hiding from the Spanish justice. Was suddenly like becoming the key at one point for a potential resolution of this
Yeah.
coalition, and then all of a sudden there was a call for his arrest. Could you explain a bit the situation and give your analysis on it, just to understand a bit better what happened?
Yeah, it's I don't know if someone from abroad is listening to this. Welcome to Spanish politics or Catalan politics, whatever you want. But it's a maze. I mean, it's hard to explain, and sometimes it's getting it gets so funny. First of all, as you said, for example, there is some contradictions in our narratives. Because, for example, what is Carlos Puigdemont? He's an exiled politician, or he's hiding from the law. There is, for example, one trouble here. So someone could say something, and the other one would say a different thing, and we will accuse each others that, oh, you're pro-independence, or you are, I don't know, a fascist, or whatever. So yeah, it's really delicate to talk about this. It's a sensitive time. But as you said, yeah, it's funny because Carles Puigdemont is the one who is behind the Junts per Catalunya, which I said before, which is the pro-independence Catalan political party, which is not left winger. I wouldn't say it's right winger, but maybe it's center right, let's say, for example. But their main goal is the independence. So for Pedro Sanchez, if he wants to be the next president, or maintaining his to be the president of Spain, he needs the six politicians of Junts per Catalunya, which is the party of Carles Puigdemont. And Carles Puigdemont is hiding from Spanish justice, or exiled, as you want to say. So yeah, it is. It is what it is. It's how can it affect it?
So the
Mm,
debate was that maybe the Spanish, Pedro Sanchez would allow him to return to Spain in exchange for the party joining the coalition with.
maybe
That
that's
was the.
one. Yeah, maybe it's one of the offers,
And then the
but
next day, a judge just called for like international warrants to get him.
yeah, who
Okay,
knows? Who knows? It's
so he'll go back to Spain either way in the end.
Yeah, but it's I don't know if Spain, not Spain, because Spain is just a country. I mean, the state or the institutions are willing to accept that, because when we are talking about a country, which, for example, Spain, we're not just talking about its people or its government. There is a lot of institutional powers there. For example, the judicial one. They I think they are not willing to accept that Carlos Puigdemont came here, because it could be like a struggle between the international law and the national law. So I'm not sure if it's possible, but I'm sure that it's one of the proposals
So,
for.
so was the fact that this judge called on Carles Puigdemont to be arrested
Yeah,
something that he did just to put in check the left wing, the Socialist Party, and Pedro Sanchez, so that to remove the possibility to negotiate on his return? Was this like the independent justice saying to the politicians, "You
yeah,
cannot deal with this"?
on the paper, if it's correct, this expression in English. Yeah,
Yeah.
on the paper, they are independent, one power from the other one, but in practice, it's not like this. I mean, if Pedro Sanchez is in the government, they have their own powers within justice. So yeah, I guess they got power there. We can remember, for example, when Esquerra Republicana, which is a left-wing party, pro-independence left-wing party from Catalonia, vote yes to Pedro Sanchez in the last elections, and the conditions they put, it was the amnesty or the liberation or the freedom of some politics that were in jailed for the Catalan illegal referendum. So yeah, and it happened. I mean, they are free now. So yeah, I'm sure it will be one of the offers from Pedro Sanchez. But I think that Carles Puigdemont or its party, it's not. It's not just about this. That they will aim for the referendum for sure.
Okay. Broadening a bit more the topic, you've also been writing about AI.
Hmm.
How do you think that the introduction and the growth of AI and related technologies can influence the political communications in Spain? And how, like, could you give examples of maybe parties and movements that have been using it already?
Yeah, it's hard to know because we got few data about this, but we can see how they are using it. So I think that that's my just my opinion. It's not the truth, of course, but for the moment, the most important segment of population in Spain to be how to say to achieve their vote, it's the elderly for the moment. So yeah, it's not that important, but it will get so important. And for the moment, it's getting important for sure. But we don't really know what extension will take this IA in politics. Normally, the business sector, the private sector, are more are faster than the public system or the political system. So we can think or we can believe that the political parties will be more precise, thanks to the EA, for example, when they choose their targets and they put them a communication message or propaganda, whatever you want to call it. This could help a lot, for example, for the parties. Yeah.
So in targeting the right niche and providing the right content and message
Yeah,
for each of the
yeah,
niche.
yeah. Because it's we made a proof with some friends from some political scientists to put, for example, let's create a message for people from a random population with, I don't know, 50 years old, and what's their main I don't know, goals to achieve or what they expect from the political party, and boom, at the moment you got it, and you can copy it and send it, and that's it. So yeah, it's getting. I think IA, as all the technology era, is what it's doing is accelerating everything. Everything is getting more and more faster.
Do you think that it will give a fighting chance to smaller parties and movements to actually get in government and campaign better than the main big two parties that have way more resources and that can put money into human resources, not having people on the ground. Or the big parties will also become proficient at these new technologies, and then the level playing field will not exist anymore.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point. I think it will be, it will happen, but let's give us 20 years, maybe 15 years, when all the voters will be familiar at least with technology or these digital tools. Then it will be super, super important for sure. Now, as I said, there is a lot of voters that for the moment they don't change their vote for a good digital campaign, for example. But what we study or what we got from studies is that in the future, or at least the youth is more willing to change their vote, and this is changing a lot all the rules of the game rules. Yeah.
And do you think that the younger generations are represented by any of the parties that have been running recently?
Yeah, and this is dangerous, what I'm saying, because it can be misunderstood. But I think, for example, we got two different movements that can be related in these terms. One is Vox, which is the far right movement. Another one, for example, is the pro-independence movement. When you see it at the first view, it's nothing. They are not related. At, they are enemies because they want to retain Catalonia, and the other ones wants to separate. But the, they are linked because they are new. They are something new, and they are using the hope to change the rules of the game as a political tool. And this is so important. And if you got a really good digital campaign or a roadmap, a good digital roadmap, you can change a lot of mindsets, especially knowing that the youth is more willing to change these mindsets. So what I think about this is in the future we will got a more volatility, if it's correct, tons of volatility, and people will change a lot their vote in terms of the campaign, and it will be much more about how every party performs during the campaign, and not being traditional with the vote. Like now, for example, there is people who is voting the same party for all their life.
Yeah, and so as you said, so Vox and the Catalan independence movement have completely opposing views on almost everything,
Hmm.
but they do share the same tactics. Could you explain some of these tactics and like illustrate a bit
Yeah, yeah,
how,
sure, sure.
how successful they are?
Yeah, first, what they shared in common is that the establishment or the statu quo is the enemy. So for lots of generations, or not even generations, but for a lot of people, the present is not a good place to be, because they are poorer, they don't see the future. There is this famous movement of no future. So they identify the traditional political parties with the establishment. So, for example, the pro-independence movement, what they are really offering to the people is hope or something different, at least. And Vox, for example, in the other side or in the other hand, is like, okay, it, maybe it's a conservative party, and they are saying things that are more linked to the past, but they are offering an alternative. Because for lots of people, what Pedro Sanchez and its party says, it's the same as PP says. So every time I say PP, it happens the same. So it's there is a war between what brings something new for the people and what is the same history. There is a really underground war in the society of this.
And what is interesting is that they are actually not speaking to the same people at all, and they have
Yeah,
different
yeah,
audiences,
yeah,
no?
yeah,
But they're
yeah.
still
That's true.
using techniques and they work. One party that seems to be struggling to speak to the right people is Sumar. So from the stats that have been circulating online in the past few days, something that struck me is that they speak to wealthier, more educated, basically to yeah to intellectuals, basically,
Yeah, yeah,
when they're supposed to represent the working man.
yeah.
How do you like? How do you think that because this is not only a problem of Sumar, no, it's a problem in France, in other countries where the left seems to have lost touch with its origins, no? PSOE, the Socialist Party, is Partido Obrero,
Sí,
so
sí,
it's the
sí, sí.
workers' party,
Yeah.
but they don't speak to the workers anymore. So how can all of these parties actually shift to actually gain back the voters that historically were voting for them?
Yeah, that's a super interesting point, Max, because yeah, it's true, and I think it's, as you said, it's not just the Spanish left; it's something typical from the Western left, let's say, and it's like when you are bringing your your ideology just in the universities, for example, where the left is super it's huge and has a lot of power. When it comes to explain it to the working class, they don't get you, they don't understand your points. And let's say something, for example, nowadays we're talking about which for me it's great, but we're talking about feminism. We're talking about non-binary person, and I think this debate is super important in this kind of environments like universities. But when it comes to talk to the working class, they don't feel relate with this narrative. And Vox, for example, far right, is aiming for these people, and that's not because Sumar, for example, they are wrong in what they say. It's more about it has to be it you should understand what they are offering you. So as you said, if your narrative is just for intellectuals, you will get the vote of intellectuals, just for them. Vox or far right, what they do is, okay, two topics: immigrants and national security, for example, and then they will claim for it a lot, just 2 points, and it gets easier for the working class, but not just for the working class. There is a lot of people that are not that interested in politics, actually. So sometimes when I talk with people like you or some colleagues from the political wall, let's see, we got some mistakes that thinking that the people is everyone is like us, and they like politics as we do, and that's not true. So when you are sophisticating too much your narrative, to your politic narrative, you're getting more small, and your target is getting more small, even if you are right in your positions. So yeah, as you said, I think it's a problem of the left Western narrative for sure. Yeah, and
Yeah,
and that
because
and sorry, Max, and here is when populism is an important concept that the left should embrace if they want to achieve these majorities.
yeah, speak because from what I understand, if you're speaking to someone that is struggling to reach the end of the month, and that is struggling to fill the fridge, and you speak about all kinds of freedoms, but you don't provide them with enough money to actually finish the month, they will vote for the person that finds the the culpabilities, no, that will find the reasons why you're poor,
Yeah, the
even
common
though
and common enemy. Yeah,
like extreme right wing parties, if you look at, well, when they have an economic program, because sometimes Vox doesn't seem to have one that's very clear in the end. They don't really say what they're going to do. No, they say what they are going to destroy. No, and not what they're going to
yeah, yeah,
build.
yeah. You're right.
But in France, the Rassemblement National, so Marine Le Pen's party, is also positioning itself as a workers' party when Marine Le Pen was raised in a castle. No, her family is very rich,
Yeah,
so she's not a candidate of the poor, but she still manages to get their vote. So it's interesting also that you said you spoke about populism. What kind of what kind of messages do you think would resonate if the left used them in a campaign and in order to try and win an election?
yeah. As you said, there is a really important example that we got in France. That if you see the background of the working class neighborhoods, where the Communist Party used to win, now the Le Pen is winning there, and I think it comes to the same conclusion that it's important to simplify your narrative in politics, even if it's how to say, if it's not that sophisticated what you are saying. That's what political communication or communication at the end of the day is about. So you were saying, sorry, the populism, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
what kind of which populist message, because we won't like go into full out populism. It wouldn't be like the left. I guess the left is not really good at doing this, but if they had to pick a few elements of populism, what should they be in order to actually be more well, to get more votes?
hmm, yeah. It's difficult to say because first you, you got a lot of people this when we talk about this elitism or academics, that they are voting you, so you don't want to lose them, that for sure. So there is a danger if you are lowering so much your narrative or whatever. So first, yeah, this could be a problem. But then I think if they understand what's happening nowadays, I don't know, in Spain or in Europe, that what is happening with prices, or what's happening with income, what's happening with salaries, for example, they should aim for it. And of course, they shouldn't be scared of using the emotions with it. And if we take a look, for example, in South America, South American elections are, man, are like Hollywood. It's it's like pure emotion. It's not. Sometimes it's nothing about rationality. It's just about emotions. So I think European left is scared of using so much these marketing emotional terms. But here in Spain, we got in the past. I don't know if you remember Podemos. Podemos, let's summarize it. It could be somehow what it's Sumar now, let's say like this. And at the beginning, they create a term, just one term, which was called La Casta. I don't know what's the exact.
The cast, political
Yeah,
cast. Yeah.
the cast. And what was the cast? The cast, actually, it was an emotional word, because the cast is everyone or everything that it's is against you from the
In the end, it's
establishment.
a concept that Trump used later. He used the swamp,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
exactly the same idea.
Totally, totally. Yeah, and it's funny that in politics what what can be used for one
But
of the
now
other.
the right wing is using freedom as their word when it's a left wing
Yeah,
word
that's true. That's true.
historically. So all of these techniques in the end, it's a bit like lobbying, no? It depends on the topic you want to defend, but the tactics are the same. It's
Yeah,
just the
that's
point of
the
view, no?
It's using at the end of the day using like relative terms that could be interpreted from different points of view. For example, yeah, you said Trump and make America great again. Everyone had their own opinion of what does it means. Maybe from a guy from Detroit, it means that General Motors will rise again in Detroit and they will get jobs and so on. And from some people, I don't know, it's that America, I don't know, I put invent something. But when we're using these emotional terms, you are letting the voter to think about what these terms means to them individually. And what we know in politics, when you make an argument or you take something from the politicians in communication and you make it like it's yours, you make it yourself, it gets more powerful. So yeah, for sure this could be an example that what the left should do. I'm not hearing you, Max. I don't know if you are mute or
Sorry. Yes, I
yeah.
said that's all the time we have for today. But thanks a lot for all of these insights. It was really interesting, and I hope to be able to chat again with you
Thank you,
soon.
Max. It's been nice.
Thank you.